Yeah. No, no, on to the next one.
Okay, no worries. We got UFC Fight Night, Hall versus Silva. Obviously, Anderson Silva, the veteran, the one of the all-time greats. His final fight in the octagon. Then he's calling it a day, he says, and he's taking on another striker in Uriah Hall. I expect this to be a really good fight. Technically, I think both guys are real technical kickboxers, so this should be really a joyful fight to watch on the feet. As far as who wins, I'm kind of torn on this one because Anderson Silva isn't what he used to be, right? We can both agree on that. But he still went 3 rounds with Israel Adesanya. So he's not he's not a scrub by any means, you know what I mean? I think the leg kicks might cause issues for him because you've seen that in the past. But the other factor in this is Uriah Hall, while he's such a talented striker, once he gets into deep waters, sometimes he mentally checks out, and that usually costs him the fight. I mean, we look at the Paulo Costa fight. He was having great success, and then he got tagged, and that was it, you know. So I don't know about this one. I think it's kind of 50-50 in my opinion. Do you have a hard pick on this, or?
I'm gonna go for Hall just because he's young. He's younger. I haven't seen any from Anton Silva that suggests he's capable of beating someone over 5 rounds. You know, at this point in a while, even his win over Derek Brunson was very uninspiring. It was more what Derek Brunson did do than what he did than what Silva did himself. So I think Hall should be able to get it done. I do think it's a good fight for Anderson Silva, and if he comes out and is able to, turn back the clock, he's very capable of winning this. Even a few years down the line, when he was fighting Bisping or people like that, he was still game. But he's 45 now, and I think for Hall, even if it's Anderson Silva or not Anderson Silva, if you're not beating a 45-year-old who's lost, is it 7 of the last 8, something like that?
Yeah.
He needs to seriously look at himself because he's being matched up against guys like Yoel Romero, and then he's matched up with Jacare as well. So if he wants to fight these guys and to continue to fight these guys, you've got to take out Silva, and you've got to take him out early. And he's known for highlight reel knockouts. Get a highlight knockout against Anderson Silva, one of the best fighters of all time. You're sorted. Then your next fight's secure. But I'm backing Hall because he should win, not because I'm very confident that he will win. I still think Anderson Silva has a chance because I don't particularly rate Hall as one of the best middleweights in the world. I think he's, fringe top 15.
I definitely think this is a better fight for him than the Yoel Romero fight. I think that would have been a very dangerous fight for him, and I just didn't like that matchup at the slightest. I think this is a winnable matchup for him. I definitely do. Over 5 rounds, not that I think it'll last 5 rounds. I think one of these guys is going to get finished before the 5. I actually predict it being quite early. So if I'm round betting, I'd probably go 1 or 2. Yeah, 1 or 2. I think 1 or 2, yeah. But as far as a pick for me in this one, I'm going to take Uriah Hall as well, just because I think Uriah Hall's a fresher fighter. I think Anderson Silva, obviously it's his last fight, is on the end of his career, and I think it's a good move for him to call this one a day after this, because like you said, he's lost a lot of his last fights, and yeah, I don't know how Hall gets it done, but I believe Hall will get it done. Maybe it's by the leg kicks. That's one thing that has caused Silva problems. I mean, Cannonier really just beat his legs up, and that was it. So if you're Uriah Hall and you're looking at tape, that's your method to victory, isn't it? It's right there for you just to get into that one. But yeah, aside from the main event on the card, the co-main event's a pretty impressive fight at featherweight between Andre Feely and Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell, all the shine at the moment, the up-and-coming prospect. Andre Feely, been around for a long time, fought the best of the featherweights, fought to both varied success, right? I think this is a good test for Mitchell, and I expect him to utilize his grappling pedigree and just get this one done.
Yeah, I think this is one of them measuring stick fights where it's definitely the toughest test of Mitchell's career. Feely is one of them guys they like to throw in the youngsters in with, and it was Charles Jourdain last time who came up short. He was on the end of a split decision in a really fun fight, but then before that it was Sadiq Yusuf and guys like that. So they like to test them against Feely, and if they're not good enough, they won't win. But I think Bryce Mitchell's very much good enough. I think he's very talented, and if you're not able to resist them takedowns, which I don't think they will be able to, it's going to be a tough night on the floor. And until someone can stop Mitchell taking them down, he's going to continue to stretch that unbeaten record. So really fun fight. I think it'll be really fun and competitive, but I think ultimately Mitchell will get the win.
Yeah, and this card's full of these, I wouldn't say all up and coming, but full of these names that have a little bit of a name value behind them, but are really just in the building stages of their career. Because before that, we have Kevin Holland, who everyone knows because his last 3 fights, and he finished that dude with the spinning back kick, Joaquin Buckley. So there's a connection there against Makhmud Muradov, who I am not familiar with. But Kevin Holland, I'm excited to see him fight because he fights good fights. You know, he's a very talented grappler, but he doesn't use his grappling. He uses his long limbs to keep people at bay, and he has power in his hands. So I'm interested to see how this test goes for him and if he can work himself into the rankings because he's still borderline 15.
Yeah, well, this is a late notice fight, isn't it? I think he only pulled out not long ago. It was Jokto, I think. So Holland steps up again. He continues to be, the people's champ. He steps up. He takes a tough fight against someone like Muradov on late notice. I think and Jokto's fringe top 15 himself. So the winner of this can be. They're in a powerful position. I think this is a really good fight, and I expect Kevin Holland to win. I just think he's got a lot of momentum behind him. He's very talented. He's very big for the division, and every time I watch him, he impresses me. So I just don't think I'm able to pick against him in this one.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I don't know a lot about Muradov, so I'm not going to really go and break the X and O's down in this fight. But I do think Kevin Holland is a talented fighter, so if I see him on a card, I'm usually going to pick him. Before this, we have a heavyweight matchup with... I think it's a pretty good matchup. I didn't even know this was a thing until I'm looking at it right now. But Maurice Green, who's a bit of a interesting fighter, I'd say. Sometimes he has varied success, but he obviously had that submission in one of his recent fights from the bottom. I think it was a head and arm triangle from the bottom from memory. Taking on Greg Hardy, who we all know because he came into the UFC and people wanted to see him lose, and he had a bit of a run there for a little while. Came up against Volkov and was definitely not ready for that challenge. He got outpointed and just defeated, but he didn't get finished in that one. So he's still showing he's definitely not a scrub by any means. He definitely has power. So this fight's an interesting one. Can Green get him to the ground and submit him? Can Green outstrike him? Or can Hardy land that power punch and put him away? What do you think?
I think Greg Hardy should take this one. I expect him to land some power and get the knockout to him. Maurice Green, he got a win last time, but it was against John Vellante, and Vellante was... He's a light heavyweight usually, and he come in, with a pot belly, and he was, clearly out of shape, and it was a really fun fight to watch, but it was a really a sloppy fight really, and I thought Maurice Green, I was watching him, and I was kind of one of them fights where I was frustrated because I felt like he could have made the fight much easier for himself, just from my memory. I haven't watched it lately, but I feel like he's very hittable. I feel like Greg Hardy can get to him, and whatever you want to say about Hardy, he is powerful. He's got some pop in them punches, and he is a decent fighter, especially in the heavyweight division, which isn't the most stacked. So I expect him to get an early KO against Green.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. I wouldn't dispute that one. Every time I picked against Hardy, he's been... Oh, except for Volkov. Every other time I picked against Hardy, he's shown up and put people away. So I'm not going to take Maurice Green over Greg Hardy in this one. But opening up the main card, we have 2 lightweights that I'm familiar with recently. Bobby Green obviously had that war with Lando Venado where he got the win there and looked pretty convincingly doing it. Thiago Moises, on the other hand, he got the win over Michael Johnson with that heel hook. After Michael Johnson came out and looked fantastic, looked like the Michael Johnson of old. Second round began and Moises put him away with the heel hook. This is an interesting fight for me because I do think on the feet, Green is a much better boxer, and I think his striking is going to be the main factor in this. Can Moises get him to the ground or grab a hold of his leg? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I really like Bobby Green in this one. I think it's a good fight, a good name. As you said, he's coming off a big win over Michael Johnson. But Bobby Green, I just feel like he's got a lot of momentum right now, 34 years old. Clay Guida, Venata, and Alan Patrick on the bounce. I like where he's at in his career. I feel like he's improving as well, because when he fought Lando Venata originally, in my opinion, it was a draw split, but he lost the fight. He was lucky. I think Venata got a point deducted. So he's clearly coming on and making leaps in his game, and it's very apparent. And I think it'll be very apparent come this weekend against Moses, who he was able to get a sub, but he weren't exactly impressive in that fight. He was getting bossed by Michael Johnson until he grabbed the leg, which, I don't want to take anything away. It was a brilliant submission, but I think Bobby Green will be able to boss him and then not get caught.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. I think Green's striking will be the difference maker in the fight. And I see him getting another win and climbing up the rankings, because he's putting on a bit of a streak here, isn't he? So I'm interested to see that. Interested to see what either of those guys does next.